My name is R. Fisher, also known as Skits of VA, from Virginia. I'm a producer, arranger. I'm a producer, arranger. When I was 12 years old, I moved to Germany. My mother got remarried to my stepfather. And while we was there, I'll never forget, I listened to Gangstar, Manifest. And when I heard Manifest, it made me want to do production. When I heard Manifest, I wanted to make beats, period. I heard Manifest, and I heard Queen Latifah, Wrath of My Madness. Those two records made me want to make beats. When you listen to those songs, I think everybody needs to go back and listen to those records. The beats was so hard, it struck something in me. I said, I need to make beats. I begged my mother to buy me 2 turntables and a mixer. And at that point in time, it was a magazine. I can't remember the magazine where you could actually go on there and you would see like DJ equipment. She bought me 2 Geminis and a Gemini mixer. The Gemini mixer had a sampler on it. So I used to hook up a tape machine and another tape machine. That's to sample through the mixer. And then I used to run the sample through one tape machine, record it on another tape machine, put drums behind it. They call it Paul's mixtapes. I was doing that at 12 in Germany. My very first record, though, it's actually tape. The very first tape I bought, or I didn't buy it, my stepdad bought me, was 2 Live Crew. The person that I wanted to be like in this whole music situation was DJ Premier. He was my favorite producer, still is, because he sampled jazz. My father was a jazz musician. So when I went into his records, it was jazz records. I always sampled jazz. I started sampling jazz first before anything. I never did anything else but sample jazz. Bass, cello, horns, even guitars, Ronnie Laws, that shit was jazz. So I always loved jazz breaks. Later on, I got into rock, contemporary music, stuff like that, but jazz was always the foundation for me. What makes a beat dope is the feeling. If you can nod your head, like everybody right now is making beats where you can nod your head to, but it doesn't mean that it's dope, it's just hot. A dope beat is a beat that when you work with an artist, off top, when they hear it, they know what they want to do to it. They just like, yo, this is it, I'm writing this fire. And inside the studio is where you want to, that's where you know if the production is hot. Not amongst the masses. We can make anything hot when you put it out and you market it and you promote it, you put money behind it, but in the studio is where you make the magic, where the artist and the producer know it's magic, it's clicking. These days, it's hard to be a producer because you don't have an artist in the studio with you that's gonna gauge how they want your production to go, because it has to be cohesive. It has to come together. You can have a kick snare, all the sounds around it, but you have to have an artist in the studio with you to create the record. And it's people that are good with putting this producer with this artist, but see, that's at a certain level. If I have an artist that's already been popping for some years, they're already dope, and I got a dope ass beat, you can make a record. That's what you call buying a record. You're not creating anything new. You're buying a record. You're buying success, basically. You're known for doing this. I'm known for doing this. We're gonna put this together, and we got a hit record. That's not magic. You know, magic comes from being in the studio. I'll rewind. People have made magic. I'll take Busta Rhymes and Pharrell, for instance. Move, girl, like your ass on fire, right? That was a chemistry. That was a chemistry. You can tell that was a record that was organic. It wasn't just bought. I mean, even though the pieces put together with a label say, hey, we pay for this, you got a budget, and this is dope. But nah, these guys are really true artists. So they put that record together, and we knew it was a hit when we heard it. Like, oh, this is crazy. And they were at the top of their game at the time. But anybody can buy a record these days. Anybody can have a hot beat and send it off to a rapper, and a rapper or artist gets on that beat and makes a hit record to it, and they pay for it, put it out, and it's promoted, and it's the biggest record on radio because it's paid for. That's not really anything special. You know, sounds good. Coming back from Germany, I went back to Virginia. My mother got divorced and we moved back to Virginia. I lived in a place called Colonial Heights, Virginia. And at that point in time, we all called Colonial Heights Colonial Whites. There weren't many black people there. I got called nigger coming from school. I got hit with water balloons coming from school in Colonial Heights. I think that was my 10th grade year. I was there for a year. And then after that year, I went to Prince George High School. And that's where I met our whole crew in Prince George High School. That was Mr., that was Pooh, that was Andre, that was Lil Larry, it was Steve, it was Junior. There was a lot of people around, but that was our main circle. That was our crew.
Catch him at the red light, red beam with the red dot. That bitch on internet, nothing but headshots. I'm a rolling stone, I ain't talking about bedrock. I'm in the kitchen with pots and a figure for leg lock.
Look alive, y'all. It's a whole lot of enemies. Stay alert, eyes red, blowing all the energy. At the top of finna be my peak, I ain't even see. Quick to pick her up or on the bounty if they sent for me.
Say you're getting money, we doing the same thing. My choppers go bang bang, you short me, I bring pain. See, I'm affiliated with niggas that gang bang. No people that slang cane, I refuse to name.
Yo, the coldest out the crew was always Mike. Alright? He just had the it factor. You know, lyricism, the presence, the look, the attitude, you know, just he had the it factor. And you don't come across that often. It's very rare. Who it reminds me of, actually that came later, was DMX. You look at DMX and you say, I believe you, and you feel it, and it's real.
I heard they outside yelling Southside. It's a good thing about the gang, man. I've been gang since the chain gang. Regular, man. I let the thing bang. Don't do no talking, no name. Don't care where you from or what you claim, man. All my ops get the same thing. I just run down on them, then bang like rah. Yeah, fuck what you talking on. Fuck what you nigga. Fuck that.
Man, I was pretty much involved in the whole Level Up project from start to finish. There were a bunch of records that was recorded, a bunch of stuff, a bunch of beats that were bought off the internet. Like honestly, when Crook came home, I was playing beats for Crook. He didn't like none of them shits. He didn't feel none of them. And I was just like, man, but I remember some time ago, when I made any beat, you rap to. It didn't matter what it sounded like.
Central broadcast, niggas is blasting in the streets. No peace, fuck police. Murder me, go ahead and try, but you gon' die. I guarantee you shots gon' fly in your direction. No protection from this infection. perfection that I possess. Might get blessing if you test, then you lay to rest. So I suggest you take your rest of your warriors and hit the benches. Cause every day is in the trenches, here comes the lynching. Watch your head, kid, protect it. As soon as I step on the stage, roll the credits. I said it, don't even touch the mic or you regret it. I got a headache, it's pathetic. Word to Riddick, flow so dead it. It's hot.
So what I basically had to do was take a back seat to what he was doing. Listening to beats on the internet, you know, doing the shit that everybody do right now. You know, find a beat on the internet, buy the beat, $35, $50, $25. And I had to listen to all this shit that I felt like wasn't who he was. And I had to remember that who he was somebody that left a while ago that I had been around for a long time that I didn't know anymore. So I had to relearn him. I had to relearn and understand where he was at musically, because the only thing I remember was where we left off at. Okay, this is the type of music we do. This is the type of beats I'm gonna give you when you come home. When he came home, I was giving him everything that I thought was dope. This is you, bro. This is, we did a lot of dark shit back in the day. A lot of dark shit, a lot of heavy stuff, you know what I'm saying? And right before he left, we got into some lighter stuff, because I think he understood what was about to happen to him. He knew he was going and, going away. But before then, everything was dark. We just was doing whatever we felt. You know? We smoked some weed. We get into the vibe, turn the lights down low. Whatever came out was what came out. But after that, when he went away, that's all I remembered. So when he came back home, I didn't know where to start other than to do the stuff that we was doing before he left, but just on a newer level. And he didn't like it. He came home, he was writing songs and writing rock songs and had, singing records and stuff like that. I was like, damn, this is a whole different type of thing. I need musicians. I can't just produce the way I produce. He need guitars, he need drums, and still to this day, like, he got records where he has written songs, really good songs. So I had to just stop myself and just let him do what he do. Even though I thought what we was doing he was great at, I had to give him his space to be who he was, and then I had to find a sound that he would connect with. And I finally found that sound later on in the project. So I was kind of working, backwards, so to speak. Like I was trying to catch up.
I just run to the bag, man, like a madman when I'm mad, man. The money come fast, man. I put it in the bag and then move it like I was the trash, man. I get the cash, man. Cop it and cook it up, whipping it, bringing it back. I let it go if you bring me a stack, but hurry up, I'm about to whip up a bag. I got a Louis bag with all hundreds in it. On my pockets got money.
Which before I was sound forward. Like he was riding my wave. When he came home, I had to ride his wave. So it's a little different. There's a certain, each person has to make a sacrifice. So this is what I want, but this is what I want to hear. It has to come together. Once it comes together, that's the magic. You're like, okay, that's perfect. We all know when you're in the studio, you know when it's it. You feel it. On Level Up, I've produced Level Up, Bang, Peep the Drip, and then the remix to Level Up. I didn't produce Crook's whole album because he had records that he really wanted people to hear from him, from how he felt. I kind of jumped on his vibe later after I started listening to what he was doing. The only thing that can make us where we need to go is time and space. Me and Crook need to be put in the studio together for about 2-3 months, where he's coming up with concepts, he's reading them to me, and I'm making beats, and I'm telling him how to come on this. Like, we need time. It's been 20 years. It's been 20 years since we were able to create together, where we didn't even have to think about it. I put the beat on and niggas just write, and then they spit their lyrics, and I record it on a 2-track. Like, this shit is even though he don't want me to talk about how long it's been, the truth of the matter is this, bruh. We haven't been in the same space for a lot of amount of time long enough to cultivate what we really need to cook up. Once we're able to focus on the music and to figure out where we need to go, and we can sit still in the music, it wouldn't take long. Cause if we working every day and that's the job, it'll come, bro. Like niggas wouldn't fuck with us. Period. I know that for a fact. Yeah, I mean, shit don't stop till the motherfucking cassette drop. You heard that before. Like at the end of the day, the luxury of time really don't exist. We can make time, but we can't create time. So we need to go now. Everybody needs to go now. Go as hard as you can now and figure out where you trying to go and aim for that, because we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Aim for as high as you want to go and just try to go there, because we don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes. I could have a heart attack right there in this chair on camera and y'all be like, damn, that's fucked up. But hey, man, that was my time. We don't have the luxury of time. We don't create that. We can make it. We can make time, but we can't create the time. So that's just where I'm at. Today is May 8th, 2020. Of course, everyone's at home quarantining. Some of us are outside already. I would urge everyone to, just think about your families and how it will feel if they lose you to, this pandemic. Just be careful. Wear your mask. Stay safe. Stay away from people. I appreciate everyone looking at this documentary and watching. And it was a lot of things that I haven't had a chance to talk about yet. So we're going to do a part 2 where I discuss Atlanta. I moved here when I was 16 years old. So I'm 43. I got a lot to say. Y'all tune in. Part 2 is coming. Thank you.